What's going on, everybody? You have Tone here, back with some more Draft League content. This time bringing you guys a brand new Draft League. This is just jumping straight into my team builder and battle for week 1 of the ICP low tier draft, if you want to call it. So yeah, very awkward beginning to this, because as you see, normally like a draft analysis would go alongside a new league like this, but the draft analysis was optional. And considering the fact that between Sword and Shield and the upcoming release of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different from standard draft league format. So when I heard that there was going to be a low tier draft, I decided to try my hand at that, since it has been a while since I did anything low tier from a draft league perspective. So decided to jump in, get my hands a little dirty. And this was going to be a nice little casual thing that I'll be doing for the time being. Still trying to, I still want to win, of course, but at the same time, this is giving me the opportunity to try out some different mons that are underappreciated in the current draft league scheme, and I figured why not do low tier for a change of pace. So as I mentioned earlier, there was no draft analysis because I didn't really feel like going through what I drafted, why I drafted it, and all that stuff. But for the condensed version, look no further than the list of Pokemon you see to the left side of your screen. That is a team that I drafted for this league. We have the Gardevoir, Seismitoad, Vikavolt, Talonflame, Registeel, Decidueye, Garbodor, Zoroark, SIRFETCH'D, and the Carbink. You do not have to draft 10 Pokemon. You could be drafted between 9 and 11. But I felt more comfortable. Well, these mons felt like the best combination at the time of me like drafting. I felt comfortable with these combination of mons. So yeah. With that being said, jumping right into the matchup itself, our week 1 opponent for ICP low tier is the Chicago Dragapults, coached by Q, the Costa Rican. We have played him once in the past, back in the UPA. I did end up losing that game pretty badly, 4-0, which is funny because he wasn't trying to. It was a game where he didn't care if he won because he felt like he didn't make playoffs, and because he beat me so badly, he actually ended up making playoffs. But yeah, he drafted a very solid, like mostly offensive-ish team. Like, he has a lot of offensive mons, the Blaziken, Cloyster, Galvantula with sticky web options. So it's like offensive with a lot, like with some bulky pivots, mainly the Porygon 2 as the main response to taking a hit and getting slow momentum with teleport and all that stuff. But yeah, he has a lot of cool stuff. Blaziken is actually a big threat for my team, even though I do have some adequate fire resists, mainly the Seismitoad and the Carbink, but the combination of fire plus fighting is actually pretty annoying for my team to switch into, considering that my main switch-in to fire plus fighting is Talonflame, and Blaziken does get access to Stone Edge. He also has other ways of chipping down Talonflame, especially considering that he has Blaziken with Aerodactyl, which also comes in on Talonflame every day of the week. So yeah, I had to be very cautious of his offense in this matchup, but there is one thing that I do hopefully can exploit with against his team, which I am going to get into with my first Pokemon, which is the Gardevoir. So you see my set, you see my Gardevoir, you see his team. He has no fairy resist, absolutely none. His best response to taking any hit from my Gardevoir is a specially defensive Porygon 2, and if he is defensive Porygon 2, then this set can 1v1 Porygon 2 any day of the week, because I have the ability to boost my special attack and special defense with Calm Mind, and I am able to wear down the Porygon 2 with Toxic, If I'm behind a substitute and I go for Toxic, as it makes it play like going into Espeon or whatever, he can't Magic Bounce me back since I'll be behind a substitute. You can't Toxic him on behind a substitute unless you're Infiltrator, and his only way of doing any damage to me behind a substitute is Bug Buzz on the Galvantula. And if I'm able to get rid of that thing, then this set does so much work against his team. Like I said, his best response to this is a defense, especially defensive Porygon 2, and that's just setup fodder for this Gardevoir set. The EVs are designed to not have my sub broken by Tri-Attack by Porygon 2. The only way he breaks this sub is if he's packing Shadow Ball. And even if he does pack Shadow Ball, if I'm able to get up a Calm Mind, he won't be able to break my sub at all with his Porygon 2. I can Toxic it, Calm Mind, and Moonblast do some damage back to something. Like I said, it's just Gardevoir is just very, very strong against his team, and hopefully they can capitalize on the fact that he did not have a adequate Fairy resist on his team. So yeah, that's the Gardevoir. Moving on, we have the Seismitoad. Stealth Rock 3 attacks. Very straightforward set as far as I'm concerned. This set's just here, get up rocks, chip things down, Scald is there for the Aerodactyl. Mostly the Aerodactyl, and the Piloswine Earthquake to chunk the Blaziken, and basically anything not named Serena on this team. And then the fourth move, I just have Low Kick. I could have opted for Ice Punch for Serena, but just looking over the matchup, I was a little bit worried about Guzzlord. Like max defense Guzzlord takes nothing from Earthquake. It actually avoids being 2 KO'd if he's max defense, like by itself. And Low Kick gives me a means of hitting both the Guzzlord as well as the Cloyster, as is also my way of trying to check that thing. But yeah, this is just a mixed defensive spread. I believe the EVs are enough to avoid being 2 KO'd by Blaziken's close combat, and then the rest I just threw in special defense to take hits better from stuff like Guzzlord if it's special. If it's physical, it's physical. Can't do nothing about that. Especially if he knocks off my Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet is mainly there to dissuade Blaziken from like freely U-turning and not taking any chip damage, because Blaziken does get U-turn. He could get momentum in that sense, so have to be cautious about that. So yeah, that is the Seismitoad. Moving on, we have the Talonflame. Now, I wasn't really going to bring Talonflame in general for this matchup, but I only needed Talonflame for one thing, and that is basically to dissuade the option of Sticky Web, because I am not bringing webs of my own, and if he gets up webs with Galvantula, that would be problematic for me. So this set is mainly here just to dissuade that option of by defogging. I did originally have Tailwind instead of defog on my Talonflame, but I opted for defog just for the chance, just to have that sense of being able to guarantee get rid of webs if he does get them up. I don't want to go for an option of Tailwind and then have to face off against having the Tailwind up. It only lasts for 4 turns, and I'm still only at +1 speed, so I don't really outspeed the mons I want to outspeed if I don't have the option of defog. But other than that though, Talonflame is just a very straightforward offensive set. Flare Blitz and Brave Bird. Main stab moves, U-turn for momentum, and I already talked about defog on this set. So yeah, very straightforward. EVs are enough, max attack enough speed to outspeed the Espeon, and then the rest is just thrown into HP. And then we have our next mon, which is the Registeel. Pretty cool set. Heavy Slam, Body Press, Iron Defense, and Thunder Wave. I don't remember what my EVs do. It's been a while since this game actually happened. The only thing I remember for sure is that the HP hits a leftovers number, and the speed is enough to guarantee outspeed uninvested Porygon 2, so I can hit that thing with a body press before it goes for a teleport or whatever. But yeah, Iron Defense plus body press is really strong again in this matchup, since his fighting resists don't appreciate taking a heavy slam. I can chunk down stuff like Espeon, I can chunk Galvantula for the most part, even the Dene for the if I feel like it. And then Thunder Wave is just nice to have that added speed control if I'm not able to get rid of webs with Talonflame. It also helps against stuff like a Shell Smash Cloyster. If he does have a Shell Smash up, I can at the very least Thunder Wave, neutralize that thing, and allow stuff like Talonflame to maintain its speed advantage over it. So yeah, very straightforward set. Nothing much else to say about Registeel in that regard. Hopefully it can end up being a potential win con in this matchup. Moving on, next up we have is my Choice Scarf Zoroark. This set is basically only here as a stopgap means to prevent a Shell Smash Cloyster from potentially sweeping me in the late game, as this set does allow me to guarantee outspeed +2 Jolly Cloyster with my Choice Scarf, and I can threaten that thing with a foul play or a low kick if it's in range. U-turn is there for momentum, and knock off is just there to get rid of items. Nothing much else to say about in regards to what its role is. It's basically just here to act as a stopgap measure against the Cloyster. I still will take a huge chunk of damage from a +2 Ice Shard, but if it means that I can get rid of it with a foul play, then I will take that exchange for sure. So yeah, the EVs, like I said, enough to outspeed +2 Jolly Cloyster, max attack, and then I have my EVs in a way so if Porygon 2 comes in on the Zoroark and its download, it gets an attack boost instead of a special attack boost. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Zoroark. And then finally, we have my SIRFETCH'D with the Leak, Close Combat, Knockoff, Brave Bird, and First Impression. This set, again, nothing much else to say about that. He doesn't really have strong fighting resists either. Like, he has 3 fighting resists, but all 3 of those fighting resists are pretty frail, and don't want to switch in to a close combat. Everything else does do a chunk. Like close combat, that's a chunk to everything on his team. Knockoff is nice to get rid of items. Brave Bird, I basically have here as a means to hit Serena without having to lower my defense, because Brave Bird can knock out Serena where close combat is actually a roll. And then First Impression is basically just there to give me another way of like revenge killing Cloyster, or revenge killing something like Blaziken or anything faster than my SIRFETCH'D in this, because his team does have a pretty good speed advantage over mine. So yeah, max attack, Adamant Nature, hit as hard as possible. The speed is enough to guarantee outspeed. Let me see if I can remember. It's enough for, I think, it's enough for Guzzlord, and I think it also outspeeds Aerodactyl if I manage to Thunder Wave it. It's something like that. Like I said, this game happened a while ago, so I don't remember the exact EVs on my on most of my mons. But yeah, that is the team. And without further ado, let's head right on over to the battle. Alright guys, so here we are at the battle, and first thing you can see is we are playing on Showdown. So we did have some connectivity issues between us. We ended up getting like around midway through our match, and then we ended up disconnecting midway. So some of the plays might seem a little bit weird, but the same leads are still in effect for the matchup, as you can see. Something to note, he did not bring Cloyster, so Seismitoad is a little bit more expendable, as it's still here to check the Blaziken. Gardevoir, like I already mentioned earlier, is fantastic, just from a matchup perspective, because like I said, he doesn't have a fairy resist. In general, SIRFETCH'D is also really strong, since close combat is also a pretty big problem for him to deal with. for his team. But outside of that, though, he does have a very strong offensive team. He does bring pretty much what I expected. The slow pivot with Porygon to the Galvantula for potential webs. Aerodactyl I knew would come for Talonflame. And Blaziken is just really annoying for my team, like I mentioned, even though I do have okay fire checks, but obviously not the best, since my only fire resist on this team is Seismitoad. So yeah, jumping into the battle itself, though, I ended up leading off with my Talonflame, since it had a pretty good matchup against everything else on his team except for the Aerodactyl, and he leads off with Aerodactyl. I'm just going to U-turn out anyway. But I'm pretty much expecting more or less a Galvantula lead, or potentially like an Espeon lead. I also contemplating leading off with my Zoroark and disguising it as my Talonflame, but I just lead hard off with my my Talonflame, as he's going to lead off with Galvantula. I'm just going to make the safe U-turn play here and go out into my Registeel, as I expected the Sticky Web to come up. So webs are up. I'm going to go straight for the Iron Defense, as he goes for Thunder. Does 28. Does get the para on me as I Iron Defense here. And I'm just going to go straight for the, I think I'll go straight for the Body Press this turn. I think it goes hard into his Blaziken. Does a chunk with the, with Body Press 80%. So here I'm thinking, okay, I have an Iron Defense up. He can't kill me unless he's special. So I'm actually going to make the play and stay in and try to knock the thing out with a Body Press, and hopefully I break through the paralysis. But unfortunately, he packs the Overheat, and well, he misses. But so yeah, so what happened here is he reveals he's Overheat, and I Iron Defense there again, because in the game, in the actual game, he actually connected with Overheat and knocked out my my Registeel. So I Iron Defense there just in case he did miss. So I'm basically letting my Registeel go down here, because that's exactly what happened in the actual game, as he connects this time and knocks me out. So now that I know that this Blaziken is special, so I'm going to go straight back into my Talonflame to force this thing out. I'm still going to go out into his Aerodactyl, expecting the Brave Bird or whatever, but I'm going to U-turn here expecting that, and he's going to reveal Rocky Helmet on the Aerodactyl as I bring out my Seismitoad. So here, he's going to go for the Toxic. I'm going to go straight for the Scald. or the low kick for the matter. I went for Scald. In the game, I went for Scald. And I didn't get the burn, but I went for low kick here just basically to prevent any potential Scald burn from happening in the remake. So that explains my why I went for low kick that turn as opposed to just going for the Scald, because if I burned him, that would have been bad for him, and it didn't happen in the actual game. So I just wanted to get the chip. I wanted to get the chip without having to risk the potential burn for no reason, because it didn't happen in the actual game. So here, after I go for the low kick, he's gonna go into Serena. I believe I go for Earthquake here, because I went for Earthquake expecting him to go for Roost. But he goes into his Serena. I'm forced out here. I go out into my Talonflame. He knocks off my Heavy Duty Boots. He gets I get the Flame Body burn here. That didn't happen in the actual game, but in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't actually change much in terms of how the battle ended or how it progressed. But for the most part, from here, I believe I just go straight for the Defog to get rid of the webs. Yeah, so I go for Defog here because I knew Aerodactyl was coming in. I go for Flare Blitz, because in the game, the Aerodactyl was a whole lot at lower HP, and I thought Flare Blitz would kill it, but it doesn't, because Talonflame's just too weak. So I U-turn here now as I retake the Rocky Helmet chip. I U-turn back into my Seismitoad. He roosts here to get back up to full HP. And I believe here I go straight for the I either go for Stealth Rock or I went for Scald here. Yeah, okay, I went for Scald. Does nothing. I make an aggressive play here and stay in, expecting him to go for knockoff again. So I get up my rocks. So he knocks off my Rocky Helmet. I get up my Stealth Rock. And basically this comes to a situation where I just stay. I stayed in to Stealth Rock again, expecting him to Rapid Spin. So I get my rocks back up again, as I am going to die to. As I was going to drop to the Toxic, so that's a passive kill for Aerodactyl. But it doesn't allow me to get back in my SIRFETCH'D this time, as I expect him to go for Rapid Spin to get rid of the rocks. But the trade-off comes as I am going to Brave Bird, knock out the Serena. I didn't want to go Talonflame because I would have killed myself to recoil. In comes the Galvantula, it gets back up the web, so I stay in and Brave Bird again to knock out the Galvantula. So that's 2 kills for his SIRFETCH'D. And now here he goes out into his Espeon. I make a really dumb play, and I'm actually going to go out into my Zoroark, which is disguised as the Gardevoir, and it's just going to die to the Dazzling Gleam. I had no reason to make a play like that. I don't know why I went hard Zoroark on an Espeon like that. So here, so I go into my Gardevoir. Like, the play was definitely going Gardevoir instead of going Zoroark, but here is where the Wi-Fi battle actually cut out during this turn. So going from here, we have my Gardevoir in against this Espeon. And Espeon was not the Pokemon I was hoping to set up on with my Gardevoir. I was hoping I would be able to set up on the Porygon, but he's done a good job of keeping that thing in the back. But I'm thinking in the back of my mind, maybe there's a chance for me to still win it with my SIRFETCH'D. So what I am going to do is I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm not even going to bother trying to set up anymore, or the setup option is pretty much out the window, because his team he has too much offense left. His offense can overwhelm my setup opportunities, so like there's no window for me to freely set up and then still like sweep, because my Gardevoir under his Sticky Web is up. I'm slower. I never had a speed investment in the first place, and I'm not going to be able to take hits like I wanted to, especially because I wanted to set up in front of the Porygon, which has yet to come out yet. So instead, I figured weaken the fighting resist so I have a chance with my SIRFETCH'D. So instead of trying to Calm Mind, well, I think it actually did Calm Mind this turn, to be honest, as it goes for Shadow Ball. I think I Calm Minded first, and then I went for Moonblast, because I didn't know, I didn't really I didn't necessarily know what type of Espeon this was. I didn't know if he was Specs or Scarf or whatever. But yeah, I figured getting rid of this was way more important than trying to set up with my with Gardevoir in the late game. So I instead get rid of the Espeon with the Moonblast from my Gardevoir. Aerodactyl comes back out. I'm actually going to save this and sack off my Talonflame as he goes for the Earthquake, which surprised me. But it does give me an opportunity to defog away the webs as he goes for Dual Wing Beat, knocks me out. I get the Flame Body Burn, which is all well and good. So I figured, okay, I can take a hit now. So I figured, okay, since its Aerodactyl is burnt now, I should be able to live Dual Wing Beat from the Aerodactyl and knock him out with close combat. But the other problem is, this is a bulky Aerodactyl, and it has Rocky Helmet still. So I'm thinking, how am I able to actually win this game with my SIRFETCH'D, because he actually has one more sack to SIRFETCH'D than I need. Like, if this was like Aerodactyl and Porygon 2 with no Blaziken, then I'd be okay. But alas, that's not the case. So more or less, I'm trying to like win it with SIRFETCH'D, but it's not really looking like I am going to do that. So my best play is just to stay in, stay in obviously because I brought it out, but hopefully live the hit and hope I don't die to Rocky helmet damage, or if he misses dual wing beat, that's actually better for me. But unfortunately he doesn't miss. And dual wing beat does put me in the range where I do die to Rocky helmet. I get the crit there, which did matter because he actually lived close combat, but it only mattered because of leak. But now he goes back into Blaziken. And all he just does is click flamethrower to finish off my Gardevoir, and that is going to be the game. So we are going to start the season off with a unfortunate 2-0 loss to Q the Costa Rican and Chicago Dragapults. I felt that I still had somewhat of a chance in the late game with SIRFETCH'D, but I did play pretty poorly with a few of my mons, mainly just going hard Zoroark on the Espeon with a pretty dumb idea. Like going from like Dazzling Gleam was a no drawback move because my fair resist was the Talonflame. Like there was no reason for me not to just go straight into Gardevoir. At that point in time, like that was really bad of me to do. Like sack off the mon that was faster than Blaziken. That was like a really bad idea on my part. Like if I kept Zoroark around, I could have at the very least just spam knockoff a few times, get rid of the Rocky helmet on the Aerodactyl, which would have made things a little bit easier for SIRFETCH'D, because SIRFETCH'D, like I said, did have a chance in the late game, but my poor play in the mid game did kind of screw me over. And props to Q for bringing special Blaziken, because I was really worried about the physical variant, and I felt that I was covered for like all variants of Blaziken, but the special variant definitely caught me off guard for sure. Like it's one of those games where I really wish I had Carbink over Registeel in this matchup, but it is what it is. I'm just doing this for fun anyways, nice casual league anyway, so no shame in that. GG to my opponent. Be sure to check him out in the description. Apologize again for this video being so long, because it actually should have been up a while ago, but yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Again, hope you guys did enjoy, and until the next time, this is Tone signing out for now. Peace out.